So I'm
Let's
just going to
get
start with the intro. So thank you everyone for joining the Quick Start seminar. Sarah Thompson's going to talk about bargain shopping. I'm just going to highlight a couple upcoming QSS webinars. There's snowshoeing on January 28th, mountain weather and snow on February 22nd with Joel Gratz, as Sarah was gushing about earlier. And then I'm helping to coordinate QSS with Mike Tischer. So if you would like to give a presentation for QSS, feel free to contact us. And big thanks to Maddie Miller for helping us organize this series. Just a couple notes. You might want to turn off your video to conserve bandwidth. This may help for a better viewing experience. If you have any questions, feel free to type it into the chat. We will address Q&A after the presentation. So to give an intro of Sarah, she is a senior instructor in winter camping school, master instructor in wilderness trekking school, instructor of wilderness survival school, director of knot tying school, and also has instructed with basic rock and rock secondary, now TCS, backpacking school, Erie level 1 hams. And she is also a lifelong thrifty shopper and proud advocate for merino wool. So I will now pass it along to Sarah.
Thank you, Anna. I'd like to just throw this out. I'm wearing 100% merino today. It's a good day to wear nothing but merino wool, because every day is a good day to wear nothing but merino wool. You all will hear my bias towards merino here really soon. So, all right. So starting off, let's get a little bit of feedback in the chat real quick. I'm interested in what people are looking for in terms of, like, is there a particular item that you're trying to find? And I have a pretty good way of finding good deals. It's trial and error and it's a little bit of Google, but if you have a particular item that you're trying to find, if something is a good deal, let me know. Susie Orman does a fun section in her show called Can I Afford This? I'm going to parody that, politely, of course, and ask, is this a good deal? So if you have something that you're interested in finding that you want to know if this is a good deal, throw a link in the chat and or give me a quick description and we'll go from there. Mountain worthy outerwear, backcountry gear. And a little bit more specific on backcountry gear. Are we talking pants? Are we talking sleeping bags? AT boots in a size 30 and wide. All right, Nate, sorry about that. I've got really narrow feet. But I can direct you to a boot fitter. Winter camping tents. Oh, bless you. I love that subject. 4-season tents are near and dear to my heart. So GPS and sat phones. Sorry, Justin, I don't know anything about those. You are on your own for that. Beacon Shovel Probe, go to BCA. Conveniently, one of the brands available on Expert Voice. Boots bindings, I'm gonna have to send you to Neptune. Cross-country skis. I wish I knew something about cross-country skis. The lightest weight 2-person AT tent and skis and skins. Wow, that's a lot going on there, Carol. Fantastic. Split boards maybe in other years. Yeah, for sure. Maggie says, go ask for Jordan when you go to Evo Denver. I'm going to second Evo. I also know somebody else from my own career in the outdoor industry named Sean, who is I believe he's one of the managers at Evo, and he's also a great boot fitter. So yeah, Maggie's suggestion to make an appointment is an excellent one. So Maggie, did Eco charge a fee? I don't think there is one.
No fee for a fitting. You just have to make an appointment right now with COVID.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so I have a few ideas for what kinds of items we're looking for. We're going to start with the conventional places to go look for outdoor gear. Carol, Evo is at 8th and or 10th and Bannock? I'm really close. Maggie, if you find the address, if you know exactly where it is. Yeah, 10th and Broadway. Thank you. Thanks for somebody putting that one in. I said I was going to try and watch the chat, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to or not. Evo is a really cute, fun gear store. They sell ski stuff in the winter and biking, and it's mostly biking stuff in the summer. They do a lot of biking. They do some golf stuff too, but not much, mostly biking. All right, so we're going to start with the easy parts. Anna, would you be able to show us your CMC login page? I want to make sure everybody here knows what some of the fun benefits are of the CMC membership. A lot of folks in here might be new. If you're new, thank you, welcome. And you may not have known about all of these fun benefits yet. So there are two ways to get there. One is under the members page. That's the easiest place. And then go over to My Member Benefits, highlighted in black bold over on the far left. And go ahead and scroll down, Anna. And there we go. See all these brands? Not only do you have access to these individual brands, but you have this fun one called Expert Voice, which I think Anna already scrolled by. There we go. Expert Voice is a Prodeal aggregator. If you're not already familiar with it, this is a great time to get familiar with it. I am logged in over here, and I will go ahead and show my login shortly. Show my page shortly. The reason that each of these brands are really cool, look at how awesome Maggie is. The reason that these brands are really cool is some of them offer individual discounts, and some of them choose to go with an aggregator like Expert Voice or Outdoor ProLink or any of the other ones. The way that you get involved with those, if you want to do things, or if you want to be a member of something besides Expert Voice, is become a volunteer. Do you like that pitch, Anna? Become a volunteer.
I like it.
Well done. Well done. All right. Now everyone can say they have pro deals. Well done, Maggie. You're totally right. But everybody gets different pro deals depending on what kind of volunteer work you do. So I'm obviously going to advocate for doing some volunteer work, but I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick. Maybe. I'm going to do a split here real quick because I have so many fun things going on. I do have some notes I'm going to share with everybody at the end of the presentation. And if somebody would be kind enough to watch the clock for me, I'd really appreciate that, because I tend to get long-winded and I forget what we're looking at.
Yeah,
so
I'll keep track of time.
Yeah, give me like maybe at 6:30, give me a note because we might do some Q&A after that.
Okay,
so I haven't
7:30?
logged in. Yeah, 6:30 would be great.
Okay.
I haven't logged into Expert Voice in a while, and so I have a bunch of alerts. And I'm not going to go over those right now, but you can focus on, you can see what all brands I have here. I can renew my affiliation. Looks like, oh, look, it's expired. I'll get to that sometime later. I told you it's been a while since I did anything, but you can see the brands that I have access to. And they vary by the kind of activities that you select when you sign up for Expert Voice. Let's see. There are different brands available in different profiles. Yeah. So you get a few questions to answer that ask you like what kinds of interests do you have? Do you like hiking? Do you like hunting? Do you like road biking? Do you like archery? And so it'll ask you for 6 or so subjects, and then it will tailor the brands based on what you say. So think carefully, because I don't think it's easy to revise. I haven't found a way to revise it yet. So
hey,
one
Sarah,
of my, yeah.
I don't see your screen.
Oh, you don't see my screen? Well,
have you
that's because
shared
I was hypothetically sharing. Thank you, Mike. I was just hypothetically sharing. There we go. Now I'm sharing. So here are the brands that I have access to, and you can see them all alphabetically in here. One of my personal favorites. We'll go to this one.
I think you're not
Still
sharing.
don't see it.
You don't see
Still
it
don't
yet?
see it.
Oh, for the love. Hold on. We have some operator failure. There we go.
Oh, okay, there we go. Yep.
And I'm going to have to shut my camera down, I think, but we'll see how it works. So this is Expert Voice. I need to renew my membership in here because it's been a while since I've been in it. But you have access to all kinds of brands, and then you can also look at them this way. Here are some of the ones that I've looked at already. I can't remember who was looking for tents, but Nemo is fabulous. There are a couple in here that are really nice, and they tend to run about 30 to 40% off MSRP. Our goal is always to pay less than MSRP. So that's one way that you can determine if this is a good choice. So one of my favorite brands in here is -33. It's because they offer a really basic merino wool. Oh, my brand has expired. Well, that's because I haven't been in here in a little while, because I've really purchased so much more merino than I could ever possibly meet. So there are some cool things in here. But the point is you get to look at, oh, they changed this a little bit around too. So it's 35% off. It used to be 40%. It depends on what your level of access is. But minus 33 is this awesome merino dealer. They're based in Vermont or New Hampshire. I can't remember. And they make beautiful basics for men, women. It's even a couple of kids pieces. There we go. I'm promoting merino right there because it's awesome. So the reason that you want to go ahead and look for items on Expert Voice or your aggregator of choice is it'll tell you whether or not it's a good deal. So if I can find something at 20% off at REI, is it a good deal to buy it at REI? No, we want to hold out for something more than that. So it's still fine to go shop at REI. We'll get to that in a few minutes, but this is how you can tell if it's a better deal to shop here or not. Now, there is a drawback to shopping on Expert Voice. I have yet to find a brand that did not have a shipping fee. Usually it's in the $10 to $12 range. So you want to take that into consideration with whether or not your bargain that you found, your impulse buy at REI, is a better choice to buy there, or is it a better choice to bundle it with other items and do it on a pro deal? There are other brands that you can ask for pro deals with directly. I don't know if I still have an icebreaker one or not. Probably should check that out. So if you don't have one, which most of us are in that position, you can scroll down to the bottom and there is a way down here to ask for pro deals. This is with a lot of brands, not just Icebreaker, but most of them. So it's going to ask you, click here to review our current requirements. This will tell you if this is something you qualify for. Well, the worst that'll happen is they say, no, you don't qualify. So why not apply? It takes 10 minutes or so of your time. I'm going to strongly recommend setting up a spreadsheet or something to keep track of these so that you know when they expire, because I have not done that very well. But one of the things that we joke about with pro deals is, I'm going to call them the Fight Club rules. The Fight Club rules are, number one, we don't talk about Fight Club, right? So also, we don't talk about pro deals. You're not really supposed to share them with your mom or your best friend or your roommate or your spouse or whatever. Don't do that. It's a really good way to get it revoked. And it's a really good way to jeopardize it for other people. So don't do that. Most brands also offer a friends and family, usually during the holidays, sometime in November. So you want to keep a judicious approach to that. Not saying that people don't abuse it, but be careful because it's really a cool benefit. If you go ahead and apply, keep track of these things, but it's going to ask you for some accreditation. So if you are a volunteer with the Colorado Mountain Club, that's a great way. If you're merely a member and you're not volunteering yet, come on in. But if you are just a member and you're new to the organization, we'll give you some opportunities to volunteer. But usually they want to know if you're working in the outdoor industry or if you're volunteering somewhere in the outdoor industry. It's a pretty broad spread of things that qualify as outdoor work. So that might mean maybe you're in law enforcement. Maybe you're in the Parks District. Maybe you volunteer for Outward Bound, or maybe you volunteer for any other organization that might involve outdoor gear. It's just it's up to interpretation, and some will allow it and some won't. I do thank you, Kevin, for pointing out that some brands don't allow any returns on anything you buy through Expert Voice. And definitely make sure you do your research before you buy an item through Expert or through a pro deal program. Most of them don't allow returns. That's absolutely right. Thank you for bringing that up. If there's a brand that you like and you want to be on their pro deal program, the worst that'll happen is they tell you no. So apply, right? Let's see. Let's go back to this one. The different manufacturers will change their bonuses available. I think I still have some from Ariat. I can't remember because I haven't looked in here in a little while. But you can see there are some pretty decent brands in here based on what I have chosen I like, right? So my work supports the construction industry. So look, I get work boots, pretty fun. That's why there's so much interpretation associated with this. Maybe you've taught people how to kayak. Fantastic, that's working in the outdoor industry. Or maybe you've just taken up some new activity. There are so many possibilities that I can't possibly elaborate on all of them, but Anyway, the little questionnaire that you get to fill out when you become a member is really easy. By the way, this is free. This is a free benefit associated with your CMC membership, in case I forgot to say that. So check it out. It's really easy to do business with them. So I'm just going to go on record and say it's pretty easy. All right. Let's talk about where to buy. I will go ahead and share this page with everybody here shortly, but there are some places that can you guys read that okay? You want me to just make it bigger? There we go, full size. So here's why I shop some of the places that I do. I like smaller organizations when I get the chance, but they tend not to have the best deals. So, and they tend to require that you go poking through clearance racks and that sort of thing. And I tend to do most of my shopping online. So I look for online retailers. Gear Exchange is based out of Vermont. It's gearx.com. It's pretty fun. Amazon, well, okay, regardless of what you think of Jeff Bezos, sometimes it is the best place to get the best deal. Just going to let you know. Costco has become a new favorite. I have purchased no fewer than 4 down jackets through Costco, and they are casual down jackets. They're not super performance oriented, but that means I can save my performance ones for actual performance and not wearing around town. Thrift stores, this is actually really cool. Once you learn what it is you're looking for, once you know what you're looking for, particularly with clothing items, I'm not going to say you can find a used tent anyplace, but you can go through those racks really quickly, and I can pick out merino almost before I get to the rack. And this is really handy if you happen to be on the smaller end of the size range, because lots of people put their merino in the dryer and then pretty soon it's too small. So I'm going to encourage people to take care of their merino first of all, but go shop at a thrift store once you know what you're looking for. It's pretty easy to pick up a $5 shirt here and there. Brand websites directly, obviously they're going to have they're going to be the ones that first will put their stuff on discount. Any thrift store is better than others for this kind of gear. It's random. Yeah, sadly it is. Most thrift stores circle their merchandise around. So even if you donate in a hip and trendy part of the neighborhood and you shop in the hip and trendy part of the neighborhood, you might not always get it. It's just a crapshoot. However, there's also another fun site called, oh gosh, it's not Gear Exchange. I'm going to think of it. It is a buyers and sellers environment for resale. And then Facebook has a few groups that are like Smartwool Ibex Insiders or Smartwool and Ibex Junkies. If you happen to be on Facebook and you want to look for any groups that are merino wool oriented, those are fun. Once you know what you're looking for, Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist can be great places to buy things, particularly nice used gear in the recycled gear out of places like Alpine Rescue or somebody who does ski patrol. Most of the time, those folks get new jackets every year or every other year. Boulder Sports Recycler and Wildy, yeah, obviously Wildy Exchange. Wildy is also, Wilderness Exchange is also a consignment store. So you may get some things on consignment there. And Maggie, thank you for a shout out for Farrell. Don't forget Farrell in Idaho Springs too. So if you get partway up the mountains and you realize you forgot something, Farrell Mountain is in Idaho Springs as well. But she's right. You do need to know exactly what it is you're looking for. So there are some places that work out really well for new gear. I shop at Moose Jaw if I have to pay full price. Anybody have a question? Sorry, I thought I heard somebody peeping in. No big deal. You'll notice there is one item that I've left off of here, and that is backcountry.com. And that's because I don't love them anymore. If you demonstrate yourself to be a jerk in the corporate marketplace in a small environment, you don't get my business. Feel free to shop there if you like. I don't shop there. But there are other places. Jack's has really good clearance racks. They cycle through their merchandise really quickly. And so that's one good place. Same with Sierra, which is part of the TJ Maxx family. So they tend to cycle through things really fast. They also get a lot of merchandise that is not outdoor oriented. So you may have to hunt through a lot of things like a treasure hunt. Moose Jaw is great if you have to buy something on full price. If you have to pay full price for something, might as well buy it when it's 3 times reward points. So wait for that. let's see, I'll expand on that here shortly. That's maximizing your loyalty programs, like when it's 3 times rewards or when REI has coupons. Remember, of course, that REI doesn't do dividends or you don't earn towards dividends if you buy something that is not at full price. So keep that in mind if you have to pay full price. And I think you have to pay with an REI credit card or debit or cash, but I can't remember if that's exactly how that works anymore. There are some places that it's okay to skimp on things. I like to say this one, thrift store fleece works just as well as Patagonia fleece. There's no difference, supply chain differences maybe, but otherwise, usually the difference is going to come in packability, so or compressibility, how with the warmth to weight ratio. But if you already have a fleece jacket and you need just another layer, great, get the thing from the back of your closet, you'll be fine. Sample sizes. When I worked in the outdoor industry, you have manufacturers that'll make sample sizes in products. In the US, that's almost exclusively a women's size medium and a men's size large. If you happen to be one of those sizes, well, you might get some interesting bargains someplace. Yes, thank you, Kevin, for pointing out Moose Jaw has a 30% back right now. That was actually what prompted me to make sure I put it in there. They usually do that for about a week at a time, and they do it about 6 times a year. So keep that in mind. There's a part in here on when to shop. So we'll get to that in just a minute. When to shop is obviously when they're offering extra bonus opportunities or multiple rewards. So when you're looking at sample items, if it has a X's through the tag that's actually attached to the garment, that's a good indicator, or a line through the brand name in the tag, that's an indicator that it probably is a sample piece. That may be something that never went into full production, but they had to make 1,800 of them just to get something to go. So you may get some random items that you find there. And then these sizes are usually what you'll find. Sometimes you can find full size runs in sample pieces, but it's almost always these pieces. And I do want to point out that price and quality don't always line up, but most of the time, if something weighs less than one item weighs less than another item, chances are your wallet's going to weigh less too, right? Because you had to shell out some extra cash for it. My easiest reference here is a Columbia jacket, which will certainly keep you warm and dry, versus an Arterix jacket, which will keep you warm and dry for a substantially higher cost and a lot less weight on your back. Just something to think about. Everything adds up, and so it depends on how you want to go about your outdoor experience. There are places that you can skimp and places that you should not. I do like to point out to all my students, there are some things that are definitely worth paying a little bit extra for. Pit zips in your jackets, always do that, because it's the fastest way to drop heat, particularly in Colorado's climate. It's the fastest way to just get heat out. You'll never be able to out humidify Mother Nature, and so being able to make adjustments in your gear is really critical. Full zip rain gear, I mean pants here. I should have said pants, because it's the fastest way to dump heat. You can go uphill, skinning uphill, or hiking uphill, snowshoeing uphill. Keep those vents open while you're going uphill, and then zip them back up to keep that heat inside. But you'll never regret paying a little, an extra percentage for full zip pieces. It'll just make it a whole lot easier to get off. If you're snowshoeing, get those heel lifts. You'll never regret that either. Unfortunately, in this hour, I don't have time to go into exactly what hydrostatic head is, but I'm going to put a little link in here that maybe talks about why that's a good idea. If anybody needs information on down fill power, shoot me message me in the chat and I'll put in a link. And then this was my favorite gimmick when I worked for GoLite. Look, it packs into its own pocket. Well, I have news for you. We can make a pocket that Shaquille O'Neal would fit into. It's a function of the size of the pocket, not how efficient something is. So don't buy into that. That's what happens when marketing gets a hold of things. Don't buy into it. It's a scam. It can be handy, but it's not helpful. All right. So avoiding MSRP. This is where I go back to compare whatever your pro or member discount is with whatever it is you found online or wherever you're finding things. To me, I find everything online. So you'll want to see if it's like, if you found a Smartwool piece that you found at REI for 30% off. Well, that's great, but I have Smartwool in Expert Voice for 50% off, which is a better deal. 50% off, 30% off. Put down the impulse purchase and go do your homework. Just think it's always a good idea. I do tell people that try and do a pro deal for whatever items you need a couple times a year. Eddie Bauer has begun their winter sale. Thank you, Maggie. Yeah, never pay full price at Eddie Bauer for sure. I talk a little bit in here. Eddie Bauer was one of the ones I left out, but how often different organizations do seasonal rotation of their merchandise or of their equipment. And Icebreaker does theirs in late February and late August. They only have 2 seasons. Smartwell has 6. Eddie Bauer must have like 30 because they always seem to have something rotating through, but they're always trying to refresh their gear. Arterix has 4 seasons. So you'll see a color scheme for winter and a color scheme for summer on their technical gear. And then their casual stuff tends to be 4 season. Minus 33, I love them, but they've had the same items for the last 5 years, at least. Same colors, no changes. You always know what you're getting. And so it's just good to know what is out there. And if you can wait, if you're not really picky about color, you're not really picky about when you get it, always buy out of season. You'll get a much better deal. I've occasionally found Arterix Atom LT jackets, everybody's favorite, like the one you're issued when you get to Colorado. You know, here's your bag of weed, here's your rescue dog, here's your Arterix jacket. That's how that works, right? Don't forget your Subaru or your Tacoma, whatever your mountain vehicle of choice is. But anyway, that's the lightweight insulated 60-gram core-lock jacket that everybody loves. But I found them on Amazon for $120 to $150 a piece. I think retail MSRP on those is $280. So you can certainly find them for significantly less, but you have to do a little homework. But once you know what you're looking for, it's not hard. And I also wanted to point out that some of us need special sizes. So if you're on the short side or the tall side or the medium side, these are brands that actually do a really good job with it. Eddie Bauer does a really nice job with tall and plus sizes. And then minus 33 has a really great, it's not the whole line, but they actually have pieces that fit non-small people, right? One of my students was 6'4" and another one was 6'6". They had a hard time finding gear that fit them. So minus 33 actually has a big and tall section. They carry a few plus sizes for women. And it's really important to have outdoor gear that actually fits your body. So I'm going to encourage you to do a little bit more homework on that. I wasn't planning on covering ski boots or skis or ski equipment in this presentation. So I'm going to direct you to Neptune. And then once you know what you're looking for, there are Facebook groups that are really good with buying and selling gear. I've had really good luck on Facebook Marketplace. Use it with caution, but I've had really good luck with it. Wilderness Exchange is a great place for boots. I don't know if they sell skis anymore. I don't know if they're continuing to offer that, but I wasn't planning on including it today anyways. So let's go back to that tent. Since somebody was asking specifically about tents, let's go back to Nemo. I happen to like 4 Season tents from Nemo. Look, 4 Season, 40% off. 40% off MSRP sounds pretty good, but you have to do your homework. Lower Trail. No, I don't feel like it.
Oh, Sarah, it's 7:30. Just to,
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Now you get buy a gift. Welcome to the Pro program. I thought I had it in here. Oh, there's the shipping information. So keep that in mind. All right, it's clearly time for me to update some of my links in here. So let's go to Nemo's website. Four Season tents. Now, they don't have the one that a buddy of mine has, which has these really cool windows right in here, but let's take a look at this one. With 4 Season tents, consider how many people are going to be in your tent and then add one. That's how big of a tent you want, because your gear takes up a lot of space and there's a lot of crap in your tent. So just add one person. Oh yes, the Arterix Outlet in Castle Rock. They do occasionally have sales, but they usually have last season's merchandise and they sell it almost always at 30% off MSRP. Thank you, Maggie. That is a great place to mention. Also, if you're not sure if they have something, call them. Say, hey, do you have one of these? Do your homework. They'll put it aside for you, usually just till the end of the end of the day. If you buy something on the line or on the phone, they'll put it aside for you indefinitely. Last season's microspikes. Who knew microspikes had seasons, right? Did you find those online, Nate, when you found those at Alpenglue Adventure?
Yeah, I signed up for their, sorry, I got a crying kid, their newsletter, and they sent out, they did like a 50% off site-wide.
Okay, cool.
Got some,
Yeah, and microspikes are one of those items that are really tough to find on a discount. There's no real incentive for microspikes putting them on sale because, well,
wish I had bought more.
Yeah. Now I occasionally see them for 20%, 30% off on assorted retailers about once a year, usually in August. I think I've seen them at REI that way. And there's also another brand that it's not microspikes, that they're a really close clone. I know nothing about them, but they're about half the price. So if anybody else knows anything about them, that's great, but I just know nothing about them. So yeah, watching for sales, again, this is what it works, or this is how it works if you are not picky about exactly when you need something or exactly what color it is. Be very open-minded and your bargain shopping increases. So it sadly looks like in the middle of winter, it's going to be harder to find a four-season tent. That is a sad reality. There is a high demand and not enough tents to go around. But I'm dying to see this tent. Just a ventilation, no access. So on the tent that a buddy of mine has, one of my fellow winter camping instructors, these panels right here are windows and they fully unzip. So it's really easy to load your gear in and out. I don't think Nemo makes that tent anymore, which is a bummer. It was really nice. But 40% off of MSRP, doesn't that sound nice? So think about that. I think I have Black Diamond on here somewhere, or I have an individual membership with Black Diamond. These two-person tents, those are really just one-person tents. Because remember, all your junk is in your tent for winter activities. That one has more mesh than what I personally would go for, but it might not be bad. Who was shopping in here for a winter tent? Chime in for me again, please. Tell me what you're looking for. Joe, you want to tell me what you were looking for?
Yeah, just one that's relatively backpackable, but also ventilates well.
Okay, so obviously you're going to look at packed weight. You want to keep that in mind? Let's see. Nemo makes pretty good stuff. Where have you looked so far, Joe?
I think mostly through Big Agnes and REI's website.
Okay, Big Agnes is pretty good. Their tents tend to run a little bit on the heavier side. If you haven't looked at, I don't know if Mountain Hardware is still doing four-season tents. Everybody has a ceiling for how much money they're willing to spend. So that's going to make a difference in what you shop. But you can still look at the Black Diamond ones. And then Maggie, remind me what Alex's tent is. The big one that we have to set up every year. Why can't I remember that one? Let's see if I can remember it. Pilleberg, that's the word I couldn't remember. Sorry, I don't have this on Pro Deal, but they make really good stuff. So Joe, depending on what you're doing, their tents are bomb-proof. Now, they're not cheap, but they are pretty cool. Less backpackable. Like that particular one is a little on the heavy side, but it depends on what you're doing. If you're just going for a night, well, it's kind of a lot. If you're going out for a couple of days, it's pretty awesome. Did I just click us off? Did I just unshare?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah, you
did.
have to share again.
Oh, sorry, I stopped sharing. I knew as soon as I did it. Okay, let's see. Oh, Mountain Hardware is still putting up the Trango 2. Do they do a Trango 4 anymore, Kevin? Did you see that one? Or the Trango 3? I don't own a Trango, so let's take a quick look at it. Oh, goodness. I thought they did a 3. So Kevin, you said you were shopping for a 2-person tent last night. I'm going to encourage you that if you're doing winter stuff, take a look at the 3. I know it's a lot, but the extra space is really useful. I find it a lot more comfortable, especially if you're not a small person. I'm a full-size person, so I tend to like more space. Also, I might not like my tent bait very much, and so I need extra space. Anyway. It's not true. I do like my tent baits. All right, throw out some other gear for me. Let's see what else we can find. Anybody else have something else in particular they were looking for that's not ski gear? Sorry, I'm not well versed in my skis right now. Oh yeah, the Black Diamond one. That's a pretty good one. Is that one the floorless one?
That is correct.
Yeah. If you are comfortable doing a floorless tent for winter, that's great. It is a great way to save weight. When I worked for GoLite, we had modular tents that you could come and either take just the fly out themselves, or just use the nest, or go without a bottom at all. It's actually really helpful. Pyramid tents are really handy because they set up with poles. So if you're going to take poles out anyway, you might as well. Oh, Kevin, Western Mountaineering. No, they can't ever be found on sale unless you're buying them used. I've never seen them on a clearance. However, I'm going to encourage you to look at Montbell, which tends to have really similar quality for a little lower price tag. And I don't have a pro deal with Montbell anymore, but they have great stuff. And it's not extraordinarily priced. There are now 2 stores in the Colorado area. There's one in Boulder, the flagship store, and then also the one down on 16th Street Mall. I'm a fan of the Super Spiral Stretch, because I tend to sleep like this, and so I like a stretchy bag. Comes back in close to you, and it gets rid of all the extra air pockets, so your body's not heating up all that extra space. But otherwise, you can still find Western Mountaineering bags on resale sites. I've never seen them go on clearance or on a sale at all. There's no demand for them to put them on sale, right? There's no surplus of Western Mountaineering bags out there. So I'm going to say good luck with that. But I have found them on resale, through private sellers. One dealer covers the cost of overfill. Feathered Friends, maybe? Does that sound familiar? We're getting into not discounts anymore. But they can still be really smart deals. I don't know if they restuff anything or not. Feathered Friends is where you go when you have an excess of cash. It's a great, beautiful brand, but it's not cheap. It's beautiful stuff. And it is alpine adventure worthy. It's expedition worthy, whereas probably your Columbia items might not be. Carol, thank you for asking about overfill. Sometimes when your bag gets too compressed over time, you'll need a little extra to fill in. There's a way to do that. I personally haven't done it, but I know how it works. Kevin, Hermit's Hut, what's that one? I'm not familiar with that site. I wish we could, let's just go to it. Aha. Oh, and Mammoth Gear is another fun one too. Seeing as this reminds me of this. Let's look at bags. Yeah, I've never seen these go on anything other than MSRP. Sorry, Kevin. Maggie, which North Face item did you say you did not recommend?
Sorry, the Mountain 25.
Oh, the Mountain 25 sleeping bag?
No, the tent.
Oh, the tent. Oh,
Sorry, isn't that what he said in the chat? My bad. If that was
let's see. I just didn't know which piece of gear we were talking about. What can you tell us why you don't recommend it?
Yeah, it has sleeves where the poles go, and it's really like a two-person job. You need more than two hands.
There, okay.
To kind of slide the poles through so that the poles don't come undone in the middle. And then like they get caught up on the seams. So
Okay.
not a huge fan, personally.
Interesting that, there's only like 6 or 7 tent designers in the whole entire world. And some of them do a really great job, and others, I kind of wonder what were they thinking when they designed that. So sometimes you can find a tent that's a bargain, but there is a reason it's a bargain. And sometimes it's because it takes 2 people to set it up. That's a good thing to consider. Yeah, thanks, Maggie, for bringing that one up. Let me look at, Montbell puts stuff on clearance, and you can also find some other stuff on resellers like backcountry.com or occasionally other sites. But I did not pay full price for mine. I don't encourage anybody to pay full price. I encourage you to sit tight and wait for the right item. But I will just tell you that Montbell stuff is beautiful, and you could find it on reselling sites. I've seen it on Steep and Cheap, which is a backcountry subsidiary. I don't usually shop there either, but I have seen it there. So let's see, I have 2 of these. Which ones do I have? I've had mine for a couple of years. That's the down hugger. Where's the super spiral? What other fun gear are we looking at? Throw me another item that we're looking for. Anybody want to go shopping? If there's other bargains out there, I will find them, and I'll tell you when the best time to buy it is. Let's see. Montbell. There we go. There's the Downhugger Super Spiral. It's a beautiful bag, folks. I have 2 of these, and they're sewn on an elastic baffle, and they stretch out to fit you, and then they collapse back in. So they're really pretty awesome. Warp to weight ratio on these is pretty high. Does anybody need any information about sleeping bags and European normalization ratings? It's really, really, really confusing to a lot of people. Sleeping pads. All right, cool. Hey, Gerard. I saw a bunch of familiar faces in here. So let's talk first about sleeping pads. Want to make sure that you look for things that have a high R value. Sorry, I was distracted by something else. You want to look for things that have an R value. Some brands are more forthright than others with disclosing their R value. So REI explains it pretty well. If you haven't read this, it's a really good idea. Closed cell foam offers an R value of about 2. If you get higher than 7, you're doing really well. And R value is relative, so you want to keep that in mind. Let's see. I'm looking for my favorite sleeping pad right now, and I have lost track of it. Maggie, what's our favorite brand that we got a couple years ago? The winter campaign.
Xped.
Xped, thank you. It's good to have. It's good to have support in this group. I like my Xped pad, and I liked it so much I told Maggie she should get one too. The coolest thing I ever did on my sleeping bag was take silicone bathroom caulk, clear, and put it across all the baffles. Why is that a good idea? Because nobody likes the slip and slide in your tent. I did a thin bead of caulk on each one of the baffles, or maybe I didn't do it on everyone. Maybe I did it like every 3 or 4 or something like that, and then scrape it off with a plastic knife So you just have a thin line and let it dry overnight. It's perfect. It's awesome. And it might peel off later, and that's okay. Put on another layer. Caulk is really cheap. So R value is what you're looking for. Get the highest warmth to weight ratio you can find. That's always a good choice. So we have the XPED 7s, I think, don't we, Maggie? I think we have the same ones. That's closed cell foam for in case anybody's looking for one of those. Also a good choice. It'll never pop on you, so it's a useful tool to have, useful thing to have in your backcountry kit, but they can be really bulky, so just it's a trade-off. Let's see. For any of you signed up for winter camping, just in case that class actually happens, we'll talk about fun gear. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. Talking about it right now. So it's not available anymore. There's the R value of 5.9. And then the other one that I had was the Thermarest. Not the Trekker. Xtherm. I think REI says the R value on it. 6.9, even higher R value. Thank you, REI. Higher R value on this one, and it's also a little bit lower weight. I did not find this pad as comfortable. I was willing to carry more to be more comfortable, by the way. Carol, I see you asking about the Rubber Ducky 2-person kayak. It sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds like maybe you're the one, Rubber Ducky, you're the one, sorry. I don't know anything about kayaks, but that sounds fun. Let's see, there was also, I offered to talk about down fill power and then hydrostatic head. I'll put those links in the Word doc that I have going on over here for everybody. It'll be a lot easier, but fill power is really a function of the higher the number, the more plumules you have in a particular, in a fluid ounce. And so that's why 900 fill down is more expensive than, say, 600 fill down. And it's also a greater compressibility, so it takes up a lot less space in your pack. It'll still get you just as nice and warm as a 650 fill with a higher quantity of down, as many ounces, but it'll take up a lot less space. So that's where that comes in. And I get this question pretty much every year in winter camping. Which is more compressible, down or synthetic, and down is always going to be more compressible. It doesn't mean it's the right choice for everything. It's my choice for almost everything, but synthetics tend not to get as small for the same European normalization rating. So let's talk a little bit about European normalization and temperature or sleeping bag ratings. These are garbage. I'm going to see what REI has to say. Most of the time, this is based on men. Sorry, ladies. But the problem is there are no standards for how sleeping bags get tested and how somebody gets one rating of 30 degrees versus 40 degrees. We don't know if the test subject was wearing a swimsuit or wet blue jeans, or if they had eaten recently, or if they were well hydrated, or if they needed to use the restroom. And those are all things that are going to make a difference in how warm and comfortable you are in a sleeping bag, particularly in winter. So this lower limit rating, that's what it says for the lower than the comfort rating. It's on men's bags. That's usually a temperature at which women would physically freeze to death. I take these numbers and I tend to throw them out the window and use them as merely a guide. It's relative. There's such terrible information about how sleeping bags are rated because they're always rated by the brands that make them. They're not rated by any independent organization. And everybody does their testing a little bit differently. So what one organization says, oh, this is good for 0 degrees, might not be appropriate at all. But I will say that women's bags do tend to insulate women better, and they tend to be shaped differently for women. You know, women tend to be wider at the shoulders and wider at the hips and narrower in the middle, whereas gentlemen tend to be wider at the shoulders and narrower at the hips, narrower all the way down. So brands that put down in different places tend to accommodate people really, really well. But that's also why I go back to that Montville bag, the super spiral that compresses back in on itself. It helps keep out those dead air spaces, and then you're not trying to heat up air. Human bodies are just not that efficient, and we can't heat up spaces all that well, particularly women. And so having a bag that fits you is actually really critical. But sadly, European normalization ratings are a little bit better. They're a little more standard, but otherwise there is no standard associated with testing sleeping bags. I'm sorry, it's garbage. I'm really sorry about that. I would ask anybody who actually works with those bags, who has tried them out. This is where your REI employee might be really useful, and you never know if you'll get a good one or not. But keep that in mind. I would just say that for women, subtract about another 10 or 15 degrees, because that's about what it's going to look like for you. The snuggle buckle. I have no idea what that is. All right, what other questions do we have? We got a few minutes left. Is there anybody who hasn't taken a second for looking up different pro deals? Hey, Betty, I see your question about water purification. That's so dependent on what kind of water you're looking at or testing and trying to purify. If you're trying to take out heavy metals, or if you're trying to take out lead, I'm sorry, that is a heavy metal. If you're trying to take out giardia or viruses, can you give me a little bit more specific information on what you're looking for? Give Betty a second to respond. You can just throw out questions verbally too. There's not an unmanageable amount of number of us here. General information on water purification. Okay. When I went to Nepal, I did water treatment for everything that I drank. Let's see. So I took Aquamira in a liquid form, and I repackaged it in smaller bottles that I bought on Amazon. So I used small dropper bottles instead. Go away. No, I don't want to talk to you. Oh, look, things are on sale. So the part A and part B in the dropper bottles, those are 2-ounce bottles. I didn't really want to carry 4 ounces of water treatment with me. I only needed a few. For a liter, the ratio is 7 drops of A plus 7 drops of B in an Nalgene bottle, like this one right here. Wait for it to turn yellow. It takes about 5 minutes. Turns like a cloudy chlorine color, and you can definitely tell it's chlorine. It looks like bleach, because it is. And then from there, you add in your tap water or whatever water source you have, and let it sit for about 8 hours. If you let it sit for 4 hours, you can still drink it, but it'll taste like swimming pool. Yeah, the MSR Mini works. Thank you, Maggie. That's a great one to throw in there. And the Sawyer Squeeze, those are both good ones. The UV, Howard, I think you meant, did you type UB or UV? You typed UB, is that what you meant? You mean like a SteriPen? Yeah, I don't have a ton of experience with SteriPens. The caution that I have on them is that people tend to get contaminated water on the rim of their bottles. And then if you try and drink it, obviously you'll get, or you could get whatever critters might be in that water. Maggie's right that a lot of folks use smart water bottles. They tend to have a really slim profile, and that adapter with the Sawyer Squeeze fits it perfectly. Happenstance, but it works out really well. And with a SteriPen, you do have to carry spare batteries. Maggie pointed that out as well. I've had them fail, so I tend to use physical methods like Aquamira, but it depends on what kind of water you're trying to clean up too. And sadly, there is no easy backpackable desalination methodology. Sorry, there isn't a great one. There is one that's like $1,000 and doesn't fit in the backpack. So I'm gonna ixnay on that one. But with the Aquamira, you can also get it in tablets. The problem is the cost is about 25 times as much. So just consider that. Oh, Carol, didn't your SteriPen did not work at high altitude at 16,000 feet. That's interesting. Anybody speculate why it didn't work? I'm not familiar with SteriPens. I mean, a little bit, but not a lot. And did it not ever, so it's supposed to, you leave it on for like 90 seconds and then it tells you when it's done, right? That's the cycle on it, and it never got to that second cycle. I don't know what Carol was doing in Bolivia, but it sounds cool. All the people who had them not work. Okay, well, and that's why having a backup method is really handy. Somebody asked me once if you can use the coffee filters for filtering water. Well, you can. It'll get the debris out. Might get squirrel fur and whatever else is in there, but it won't take out, obviously, viruses or bacteria. So keep that in mind. Let's see. Oh, batteries wouldn't turn on. Interesting. Adventure travel leader. Yes, that sounds like fun. Sounds like you had a good time anyway. I hope nobody got sick. All right, just a couple minutes left. I hope this was helpful. If you have questions about whether or not something is a good deal, let me know. I'm a pretty good sleuth, and I'm a pretty good tracker of whether or not something is a good value. So shoot me a message. Anna sent out my email to everybody, and I think it was in the QSS login as well. Anna, is that correct?
Yeah, and we'll include it on the
Okay.
when we send out the follow-up. Yeah.
I'll go ahead and put that on my Word page as well. Where did I put it? Well, I'll find it again in a minute. Anyway, anybody else with questions? Hope everybody had a reasonably good time. It was an hour. You guys want to see the cutest new member of the Colorado Mountain Club? Hold on.
Aw.
This is Lucy. She's my new buddy. I just woke her up from a nap.
Hi, Lucy.
She's the cutest girl. Oh, I'm so tired. My person just woke me up and I'm tired. Anyway. All right,
Okay.
I'm going to stop sharing.
Thank you, Sarah. Thanks for this presentation. We've recorded this seminar, so we'll send out the link for the recording in the next couple of weeks. And thank you, everyone.
If anybody has a hard time figuring out how to sign up for ProDeals, let me know. I can walk most everybody through it.